Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, this video is going to be relatively quick. The gentleman that you are about to see, this guy, Babchenko, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. This gentleman. Ukraine accuses Russia of ordering dissidents' murder. This guy's supposed to be dead. His name is Arkady Babchenko. He's supposedly a journalist. Vladimir Putin supposedly didn't like him. And supposedly Vladimir Putin, with the power of God or the power of Russia or whatever you want to say, what power he has, kills this man. Here's the problem with this. This is the same guy who Vladimir Putin, who was supposed to have killed, who one newspaper after the next says, Vladimir Putin killed this man. Vladimir Putin killed this man. One newspaper after the next. Vladimir Putin is a murderer. Russia is a murderer. How dare some of you people defend Vladimir Putin, saying that you guys are just Putin puppets and that Vladimir Putin can kill this guy. Vladimir Putin murdered this man, and you need to own up to it. The problem with this is, this guy is at this press conference, alive and well. Where's right here. That's him, with the smirk on his face, alive and well. Apparently he had like 4 kids and a wife. His wife didn't even know that he was alive and well. The Ukrainian officials faked his death. Literally faked his death. Saying that there were death threats coming out of Russia and that this was the most sane way of going about doing it. All of the newspapers claimed that this guy had been killed by Russia. Faked his death. The Ukraine. We need to talk about the Ukraine. All of this talk is about Syria. Let's talk about the Ukraine. There are neo-Nazis running wild in the Ukraine. They're chasing and murdering journalists in the Ukraine. This has become somewhat of a despotic area in that part of the world. And we have been funding and we have been helping and we have been giving weapons to those neo-Nazis because those Nazis have been essentially pushing back against Russia. We've been empowering Nazis in order to push back against Russia. We've been giving them weapons. We've been giving them resources. Obama didn't even go so far as to give these guys weapons and resources. But nevertheless, Donald Trump, weapons and resources. He's a Putin puppet, but he's given weapons and resources to neo-Nazis that are fighting Russia. Here's a question. Scalpels. Can we talk about that now? Now, Vladimir Putin was blamed for this man's death. That anybody who said anything else about it was a Putin puppet. This guy is perfectly okay. This guy's perfectly well. The Ukraine faked his death and then blamed Vladimir Putin of it. The first image that I showed was an article with the Ukraine accusing Russia of ordering this man's death. Ukraine knew all along they had faked the guy's death and had ferreted him away. Let's talk about the Scalpels. Let's talk about the Scalpels. Now, the Scalpel case, if you remember, a spy goes down in Britain. That spy goes down in Britain. Boris Johnson comes out and says, Russia did it. Vladimir Putin himself shaking his fist. And the man from Portportedly told me, I'm just a bureaucrat. But that guy who deals with science all the time, he is the man that knows. He told me that it was Vladimir Putin. This came from Russia. Now, there were certain oddities with this, of course. The guy from Portportedly came out saying, I never told Boris Johnson that. I don't know where Boris Johnson got that from. Boris Johnson made that up out of whole cloth, essentially lying outright. Also, if this was Novichok, it's supposed to be like, what, 10 times, 50 times stronger than VX, which is in and of itself supposed to be able to kill one drop, hundreds of men. And the person or the thing that got ended up being killed was like a cat and a hamster, with the Scalpels themselves in this almost miraculous recovery, like this hand of God recovery. What about the doctors? When the doctors first started dealing with this case, they thought it was this kind of opioid abuse. They didn't have any issues associated with it. Why didn't the doctors get sick? If this was what they said it was, if this was really Novichok, if this was really this toxic chemical that takes down men with these thick necks, and yet a younger woman and an older geriatric spy is apparently alive and well. I'm just saying this story sounds a little hollow. And the doctors are perfectly well. The spy has been recovering. All of the chemicals that they're talking about, Russia, are not purely isolated in Russia. The Ukraine would have all of those chemicals just like Russia would have those chemicals, just like the United States would have those chemicals, just like Britain would have those chemicals. In fact, you can make an argument that the only way Britain could identify the fact that it was Novichok was if they had a copy of Novichok themselves. That being said, it is mighty suspicious that the UK government comes out and just points the finger at Russia when they have no idea who did it, supposedly no idea who did it. And oftentimes when they want to rush past an investigation and just jump immediately to that person did it, it makes me suspicious. How do you know without an investigation? And immediately with this, when they always ask the question, who else would do it? Who else would do it? Well, in this case, you have a Ukrainian or a journalist in Russia who goes down because he's in Kiev. They fake his death, don't even tell his wife, don't even tell his kids, ferret him away for X number of weeks or months, and then bring him back alive and well. No issue. It's all a lie. It's all fun and games. It's all for jokes. You've just blamed a foreign country, saying that that foreign country has something to do with murdering a man, and we find out it's not true. Why on earth will we all of a sudden take what's taken place with the Skripals as being absolutely true and absolutely the word of God when this guy, when stuff and ridiculousness like this is being played on an international stage? There are questions with the Skripal case. I would be very... Let's just say there are questions with the Skripal case. The fact that what's his name is alive in and of itself is a major question. How on earth did a geriatric spy and a younger woman live through something that's supposed to be able to decimate large swaths of men? But nevertheless, the mainstream media pushes the narrative, and they just go along with it. There's nothing to see here. Everything is above board. Just because this guy was faked, his death was faked, and just because Russia was blamed with his death doesn't necessarily mean that the other stuff is not true, which is fair. But let's be honest that it does put a certain amount of criticism, or at the very least a certain amount of skepticism, on the events that are coming in international politics these days. There have been a lot of people who accuse Russia of killing this guy. This guy's alive and well. Don't you have to give a little bit of credence to the potential that what these governments are saying from the standpoint of this kind of international politics, even with the thing with Skripal, it puts a certain amount of skepticism on the certainty that the government is coming out with their stories. So, did the United States and the UK have anything to do with this guy being ferreted away, seeing as the United States has been assisting Ukraine? Maybe, maybe not. If they didn't, okay, fair enough. But everybody thought this guy was dead, and everybody blamed Russia for it. And you find out this guy's alive and well. And I'm making a point, jumping to the conclusion that Russia did it when you don't know. Does Ukraine have an incentive to frame Russia for this thing of Skripal's poisoning? Yes. Yes, they're in the middle of a war. These guys, they have Nazis out there who are in their mind pushing back against Russia. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And let's not act like Russia is the only one that have those chemicals. So there are a lot of oddities. My mic is low. There are a lot of oddities with this case. And Babchenko coming back like Jesus is one of them. So I'll leave it here. I'm not going to keep this one long. Let's see. Did I spell something wrong? I don't think I spelled something wrong. It's no idea if you know how to spell. Glad you're talking about this. I have no idea what the deal is. Everything is reported about Russia these days. Jamal, turn your mic this up. Everything reported about Russia's BS. Let me say it this way. I have no idea. I don't believe Boris Johnson coming out saying the Russia thing I start to disbelieve magnificently the moment that they go with this idea of we don't need evidence to make a determination on who did it, and we're going to even spur the investigation of this. This gets a little dicey to me. How do you know who did it without an investigation? So if you're trying to jump past that idea of an investigation, then I have to ask why. Why are you so fast to go past the investigation? You're jumping to the thing. They didn't even bother. They made this point that says an Iraqi thing. They held up a little vow. They didn't even bother doing that. They just sent a letter saying, admit that you did this. It was amazing. So, all right, guys. Yeah, this guy walked into a press conference about his own murder. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did. He had been supposedly murdered. He comes back perfectly alive and well. Everybody is shocked as shit. And it's like, but everything that you believe is perfectly true. The what's his name? All of these news articles wrote that Vladimir Putin killed this man, and this man is perfectly alive and well. It's amazing. All right, I'm gonna end this one. This one is not gonna be long. I never intended this one to be long. I was on for 2 hours for something else, and that sapped a lot of my strength. So I will end it here. If you guys enjoyed the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support through Patreon. Thanks, everyone.